Welcome to another episode of Series C Growthonomics. Today we will continue our conversation on product analytics. Last time we talked about the introduction and the three ways in which we're going to go deep dive into it. So today we're going to take one of those subjects. We're going to talk about feature, analytics, journey, and in the context of cohort. So in the context of our example where it was a website, whether it was a mobile app or on a browser where you go in and do your hotel bookings and your accommodation booking next time. So this is the app and this is the website. This is where you start looking at the more whether your features are working well or not. So for example, you have your search bar. Is your search bar working well on the website as well as your as well as on your app, mobile app, and and so on and so forth. You individually need to look at these different features you have and whether they are working well or not. How would you define? So here's an interesting concept for you. How would you define the Pareto? I mean, there are probably 25, 30, 40 things going on a single page. And then from every page, they might be like, even for a very simple site, you might have 50 to 60 pages, if not more, right? 50 to 60 pages, every page having 40 things that potentially is a feature. Feature can be anything. Feature can be a button. Feature can be an entire widget. Feature can be the combination of things you are showing people, personalization, any of that singular thing is called feature. How would you know where to have your focus? And so that's where I would say, as you think about feature optimization, think about where is the biggest traffic. So if let's say you have 1 million users coming in every day, where is the biggest click volume going? And make sure that if this is your click volume and this is your, let's say, numbers, make sure that you clearly understand what those Pareto are, and make sure that you are focusing your energy on the top X, where the top X volume is. Why? Because that's where the biggest bang for the buck is. If you were to able to let's say 1 million people coming in and 100% of those people actually, or let's say 80% of them use the search bar, that means that search bar needs to be fairly well optimized. If it's not returning the searches the way it needs to be, whatever else, this is going to have an impact on your top Pareto. So that's very, very important. So that would be the way you would think about which features you need to optimize. The other thing to think about is, so this is feature when you look at things singularly. The other one is a journey. So let's say last time we talked about it, there is your listing here. They are given in certain order. Maybe you give them a sort preference. From there, people go into the listing page where their features are there, where the pictures are there, and then there's a buy now button or book now button, and then there is a whole list of the flow, and then there is a final conversion. This particular whole set of a set of steps people take is called a journey, and journey can be your primary feature. Journey can also be if somebody has a problem. Let's say they had a bad experience and they want to do a claim, so they won't have to question that process, starting from maybe they search for it or they go to their prior booking page, and then they start their entire process of creating a claim or disputing or whatever else, and then submit. That is also a journey. So when you think about one big area of where you would be spending your product analytics time is feature analytics, journey analytics. Journey again is what are the most important journeys on your website, where are the biggest bang for the buck is. The biggest bang for the buck, I would say, would be under your, where the revenue is, where your funnels are of conversion. Also where, when you think about revenue side, also think about the loss side. So for example, claims would be your loss or cost side. Take the biggest, again, use the same Pareto principle. Take the biggest piece of the pie, where the biggest traffics are going, is where your biggest optimizations are available. And obviously, as you mature in the organization, your top flows would be fully optimized, and the opportunities may exist further down. And in this optimization, there are two things you'll be using. There'll be analysis and analytics, which is, the entire funnel. People came here, then they did this. This is what your journey would look like. Then they did this, then they did something, and then finally pay. And the question is this funnel fully optimized? Is the journey fully optimized? And where the drop-offs are, is that something you need to optimize? So that's feature and journey analytics. You'd use analytics. You'd also use A/B testing. You may come up with ideas and hypotheses that doesn't exist before. Somebody might come in and say, instead of we should only show 3 listings, and after that we should have a break, which is some unrelated ad or something. And if they come up with a hypothesis like that and they've never tested it, then that would be something that would go into A/B testing, and you test for an option where you show that ad, and when you don't show, a status quo versus a new option. And that's where you can say, hey, actually introducing this break helps with, because we're only giving them 3 options, the decision making is improved, whatever else. So that's your A/B testing applied. And so in your feature journey analytics, there's a significant amount of analytics used, as well as A/B testing. The other part of it, all of this, is cohort analysis. Now, cohort, we talked about it last time. Cohorts are ways, and there are many ways of defining cohorts. You can have cohorts like by source, right? So your Insta cohort versus your Facebook cohort versus your LinkedIn cohort, various sources of acquisition, Google cohort, organic cohort, how do they do? You can also have cohorts by time. So December cohort, December 21 cohort, March 22 cohort, how do they look like? And when I'm talking about cohort, you are looking to do cohort analysis for long-term trends. So for example, one of the things a lot of digital and digital products people use is called retention. So they are looking at potentially their 12-month retention. So let's see, this is 1 month, 1 month, 2 month, 3. So monthly retention till some time, and then this is the product is still being used, right? And so you would have curves like this. And what cohort analysis is often used for is to see, typically this is what the looks like, but here there is something happening for this cohort which has greater retention. Look at this, month 3 is so much better. So break-in trends or different trends is you use to study that. This could be studying cohort by various sources, and then also various timeline. These are all different ways in which you will study your cohorts. And cohorts is used for just basically studying these long-term trends. Retention is one such, churn, any other trend which is a long-term trend. Trial, for example, trialers, trial percentage to subscription, paid subscription, for example. So whoever has to try your product pretty much might follow a cohort like this. If they're going to try, biggest trial happens at the end of 1 month, when or something like that. And then again, you'll study that across different cohorts and see break-in trends to understand if something specific is going on. Suddenly your TikTok, somebody posted something about your website on TikTok, and that cohort is significantly different. It started from high numbers and then went down. So it's a different cohort. These are the long-term tails is when you're going to start looking at it. And again, we'll talk about not the next time, but the next time over, we're going to talk about metrics that matter. In the metrics that matter, you should know what are these trends that you want to pay attention to using your cohort analysis. So that is all under product analytics, specifically under feature cohorts and journeys. And hopefully you find this useful. Next time, we will talk about pricing analytics, another very, very important subject.